Hello and welcome to jobskillshare.org. We are starting a brand new series, Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Now, why are we actually creating a video series and a tutorials on this specific product of Microsoft? The reason is simple. We have shown this image in multiple videos. Microsoft is now moving from traditional management to a more hybrid and modern management. And if you are basically a student looking for jobs, you also need to now learn what is new, which is basically kind of like Microsoft Intune, Office 365, and the new technologies that comes with Azure. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you go to the companies now, you will either find yourself in the hybrid world where you are going to need to know the on-premises, the traditional type of technologies that Microsoft have always provided, or you may land in a company that has totally moved to the modern management and they don't use something that is more on-premises. So yes, for you as a JSS member, it's super important to learn these new things that we're teaching right now, and we're actually calling it modern technologies. We have playlist modern, we call it modern, our courses are modern. So if you are a brand new professional, or you're trying to get in and try to learn all of this technologies, what would be the prerequisite for this specific technology that we're going to show you in this whole series? The first prerequisite for this is MD 100 and MD 101. Now, we tell our members that you should really start with our program, which is IT Fundamental Skills Learning. And in that, you learn Active Directory, and a lot of talk is done into those videos where we explain things, how we are moving towards these technologies, and we're teaching you this stuff. So yes, it's definitely going to be advanced for some of you if you're totally brand new to IT and you feel like, okay, what is this Azure Active Directory? How did he say that it's connected to this SCCM or something like that, or Endpoint Manager, or whatever names we use over here? These are the things that we're not going to really go in detail, because a lot of the technologies are already covered in our MD 100 and MD 101, which is a kind of like a starting point for becoming modernized and learning the technologies at a very detailed level. So here's basically a specific product that we are going to use, and it has multiple products integrated in there, and that's what Microsoft is trying to do. They're basically going to manage everything from this single point, which is, they call it Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So if you look at this image right here from their website, on the left side you can see it's on premises, like Windows Server, Apple devices, Windows machines right here, and then you have this config manager console, which is also a Microsoft product, and then on the right side you can see it's Intune console. So it's on the right side is totally 100% what they are saying, that you can manage all these devices. On the left side, on the right side, you can see that there are less devices, but on the right side there's more devices. So they say that you can actually basically manage everything on the cloud, and our instructor is going to explain this in more details later on. But from this video, I just want to tell you that we are going to be focusing mostly on this in this first phase of Endpoint Manager, because it's a pretty big product. And then after that, when we're done with this, we're going to move on to the on-premises management, because it's easier to teach this on the right side, because everything is in there. It's in the portal, it's in the cloud. We just need devices. We're going to use JSS devices. And on the left side, when we are ready to understand everything on the right side, we're going to go to the left side. So another way, basically in the companies, if you look at this diagram right here, I'm going to just quickly draw. Let's say I am going to draw two companies right here. So this is company 1 and this is company 2 right here. So I'm just going to move this right here. Sorry for my drawing. So basically what we're saying right here is that this product has two major abilities. It can do a little more than that, but one is that you have another product on premises. You have servers running right here. Let's say these are servers, Active Directory server, SQL servers. You have a lot of clients in the different floors, and different type of devices are there, and you will have a product that also basically comes from Microsoft. So you can manage a lot of things internally in that office. If you want to manage it from outside world, then you have to use a VPN to connect to this and then use the product. Here on the other end, if you, let's say, are a company and you say, oh, we don't want to use this product like that, we will have the same setup, but we don't have anything like Active Directory or other things that we don't need that. Basically, we have an email, we have, let's say, people who are moving around from different places to different places, and this is just like, a headquarter that we have, but these laptops are moving all out from the company. So then they will use a Intune product that we are going to cover first. So we are going to directly connect your devices to this Intune, and from wherever you are, all you need is a browser, and basically they don't need to be connected to the VPN, and you can actually manage all these machines. So if you want to keep both, then you're going to be in that hybrid environment, right, that we explained. So then, of course, you will be combining these two products together, and then you will be managing it from a single point. So both will be managed from a single point, but that's where you have this endpoint manager that is going to play a pretty big role, where you have a single point on the top. You can manage both ways. You can on the left side or on the right side. Okay. So that is what we are going to cover. So if you come down, it has its own benefits in this right here. So let's go ahead and see what kind of benefits does it offer. As you can see, it's kind of like a overall tool that is going to a dashboard or a portal, you want to call that. It's going to cover Intune, it's going to cover Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. You used to call this, or we used to call this SCCM, and we have different capabilities that we are going to use. And then we have a defender for Endpoint, which is another pretty big feature out there. But we are going to start with the Intune first, and then we're going to move into the Endpoint Manager, and then we're going to start the security side of it, and in between we're going to learn about Azure Active Directory and things like that. So this is why it's important for you to understand that the prerequisite of this is definitely MD100 and MD101. Why? Because in those type of courses you get to learn Azure Active Directory, which is kind of like the core of this cloud and hybrid connections, because you have to authenticate yourself, you have to use identity, you have to use a lot of Azure Active Directory services to be able to manage Office 365 and other things that you're going to see over here. So that's why the core requirement is definitely this. But again, if you got a job now and you're in the position where, okay, I just need to do my work as a help desk, so I will just do like a support level type of thing. So what I'm basically saying is that you may land a job in the company. So let's go ahead and open this. You may land a job in the company and you may see something like this. So let's go ahead and first, how do you open this endpoint manager for Intune? So we're gonna go to the Office 365 over here, and usually you can just come over here and click on Endpoint Manager on the left side under the Admin Center. So if I click on it, it's going to take me to that. So that's where you're going to see the Endpoint Manager, and they call it on the top right here, Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center. And this is where what I'm saying is that you will have a portal and you're going to be managing your environment based on how you have set up. Is it a hybrid environment or is just totally cloud? So if it's a total cloud 100%, if you click on devices and you're managing these devices right here, you're going to click on all devices, you're going to see Intune. Basically it's going to just say Intune, and that's it. If we click on devices now, let's go to all devices, and it's going to say Intune, because you're actually managing everything directly from the cloud, and all of these different features then will be applied directly from using Intune features. So everything that will come from here is just going to be directly impacting that machines right from here. So you could do a lot of things, like big things like feature upgrades, updates, monitoring, enforcing policies. Just like group policy, we'll have different policies from cloud, scripts, and different type of things. But if you have a environment, which like I said, was a hybrid environment, then you're going to see something like this, which is basically you're going to see something more of like co-managed. So you will have a configuration manager and also Intune together in one company. This could be a reason that, let's say you have laptops that you're giving out as a loaner and you don't want to put it on domain, or you don't want to manage it through an Intune because it will have an agent and it will need to have that connection going on. So let's say you don't have that capability. You want to just manage these laptop machines without using a local premises or anything like that, you want to make it easy, you put it on Intune directly because you have requirement for that. So what Microsoft is saying, that you could do both. If you have a very complex environment, you do need that on-premises management and SCCM type of requirements where it has a lot of advanced capabilities, then yes, you would be able to do that as well by using co-managed. If it's just directly cloud, then you're going to use a direct Intune connection like this, and then whatever you set. So that, like I said, this is a little confusing for a lot of brand new people, like what is he talking about? And that's why I say that you really need to understand MD100 and MD101 from our Job Skills Share courses. So if you don't know, please contact support. They will let you know where these courses are. The links will be provided. It's also on the portal. You can go and download the catalog. You can open MD100 and MD101 courses from there as well. It's a very good reminder for a lot of people, because we don't want you to get stressed that what are these different type of Azure Active Directory or different type of connections. So that is where it's really important for you to know this. So after this, our trainer will explain what this dashboard is about, what this product is about, and then after that we are going to start uploading videos on specific features like devices, what's under devices, covering all of this, apps, and then of course the endpoint security at this level, at the Intune level, reports, user groups, and other things in this specific area, and whatever includes in Intune, specifically Intune, and then we're going to move on to a more advanced learning that is going to be what happens on hybrid world. So I'll now give this to Ali, who is going to be instructor for this series. Thank you.
Hello and welcome members. Microsoft Endpoint Manager, the secure integrated management solution. And in this video, we're going to discuss about plenty of things, and we're going to show you how this Microsoft Manager, Endpoint Manager, providing you the facility, the features of two combined products, and what are those products: the Microsoft Intune and the Config Manager. And as you all know, and if you don't know, so you can search on Google and research on that topic, that the Config Manager is for your on-premises devices, your servers, your whole on-premises environment. Whereas you have Microsoft Intune that allows you, and it was the previous name that was mostly used by the Microsoft platform, and now once they combine this Microsoft Intune and the Config Manager, and now it is combined in the new name, and that is what the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Why? Because it have the both features, the both offerings the Microsoft Cloud has to give. So let's explore it more, and here's the picture that will really tell you the whole concept here, that now you have what the Microsoft Endpoint Manager, and it is doing what? It is combining the features of what? The Config Manager and the Intune. So with the help of this Microsoft Endpoint Manager, you can access the features and the consoles and the ways and the different sort of software controls and software vendors you can easily getting from both of these consoles. So here's the picture, and what it says, that on the one hand you have what? The Config Manager console, and on the other hand that is what? The Intune console. But when you have this Microsoft Manager, Endpoint Manager, you're going to have the single console, right? And from that specific single console, you're going to manage your devices, you're going to deliver things, you're going to just see the status of your devices, how these devices doing, what's the update, what's the status, and conditional access. A lot of features that you already using in on-premises Active Directory, on-premises solutions, which you're going to later use here in the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. And with both of these things like the Configuration Manager and Intune, that combine and provides you what? The co-management workloads. And this is the co-management workload thing is on top. It's really hot these days. Why? Because this whole concept provide you the ways to run something in your on-premises environment, or shift some load on the cloud, on the Intune. So in that way, you can easily have the whole experience of the hybrid nature of this Microsoft cloud environment. Now, if we explore more the Microsoft Endpoint Manager later, I'm going to show you how this manager looks like and how to see devices. And in the coming videos of this series, we're going to cover all the portions and that are the most important and really need for the IT personnel to know. We're going to show you all that stuff in the coming videos. So it delivers and helps the modern workplace and provide you the modern management to keep your data secure in the cloud and on-premise. And it also includes the services, the tools you were already using, like manage and monitoring mobile devices, the desktop computers, your virtual machines, embedded devices, and server. So here's the Endpoint Manager combine the services you already knew and already using, like the Intune, the Configuration Manager, like I said before, in the desktop analytics, co-management, Windows Autopilot. So if we explore each and every product, so you have the Intune, the Configuration Manager, the co-management, the desktop analytics that really helps you to see the status. And with the help of these desktop analytics, you can easily take the informed decision. You will have, the clear picture what is required for those devices and what you should do, what sort of updates you should apply to each and every machine. So these sort of details you will easily get from the desktop analytics. You can set up any pilot here that will do a more deep research, more deep analyzing for the updates. Then you have the Windows Autopilot that's allow you, and if you have the frequency of the new devices, so this Windows Autopilot really helps you and really work with your requirement. So then you're going to have the Azure Active Directory for identities, for authentication, for MFA, multi-factor authentication, and in the last you're going to have the Endpoint Manager Admin Center. And this admin center will work like the dashboard, a console where you can easily see the list of devices, you can easily edit things, you can easily initiate different features like autopilot, you can easily manage devices. Here you can create conditional access to restrict things, you can block access from this Endpoint Manager Admin Center. So there you will have plenty of stuff and plenty of controls and plenty of management through this Endpoint Manager Admin Center. Now, if you want to choose, so you should go with the right things. And like I said in each and every video, that the stuff we are covering, we are presenting in this Azure videos, in Office 365 videos, all are on that date. So it might be updated somehow by the Microsoft, and they are actually updating things on monthly, on yearly basis. So if something you watch and you listen that sounds some unupdated stuff, so you can go on Google and you can research and you can find, you can check on the Microsoft Docs, because we are taking all this stuff, all this tags, all this information from the Microsoft Docs. So on that date, on this year, this is the updated version of this information. But if probably it might be updated or changed, so you can go on Microsoft Docs and easily find out what's new you have. So you need to take the informed decision, and once if you have this situation like you're constantly provisioning new devices, then the Windows Autopilot is your best answer, is the best solution. Or if you add rules and control setting for user devices, then you need the Intune, that is allowing you, that is providing you a whole platform, a whole dashboard where you can easily implement things, you can restrict things, you can add restrictions to the users. Then if you're currently using the Configuration Manager to deploy apps, because if you have this on-premise solution and want to use a conditional access based on security requirements, then this co-management is really help you, and you're gonna find this co-management where on the endpoint environment. And if you're currently using the configuration manager and are responsible for keeping the Windows 10 devices up to date, then this desktop analytics will provide you all the necessary information. By that information, you will take the informed decision. You will be aware about each and every device, each and every Windows 10 device in your environment, what sort of updates you should apply, and how you should upgrade your whole Windows 10 environment. So this desktop analytics would be the best choice in that case. And if you're getting started with the MDM, MAM, or you're going to use ADMX templates to control Office, Ad, and Microsoft settings, then the Intune would be the best answer to that question. And here's the thing, that the Endpoint Manager is in the three parts. You can divide to understand, and in terms of implementation, you can divide. Like if you talk about the cloud, so your all data will go here on the Azure and no more data center. So you will have the whole resources on cloud, and this approach will give you the mobility benefits because you can move your data on the cloud and you can access that data anywhere, anytime. So this is the way that mobility adds in your environment with the Azure, with the cloud. And the security benefit of Azure you will definitely have. And if you divide it in on the on-premises, so you have an on-premises infrastructure, like it includes the configuration manager, or if you're not ready to use a cloud, then you can keep your existing systems, right? So in this way you will have the endpoint manager, but you don't want to move to the cloud, so your existing system will run and you can manage the whole system through endpoint manager. So in that case, nothing is being shifted or moved to the cloud, but you're just accessing, you're just managing things through the endpoint manager. And the third condition is both the cloud and on-premises. In that way you have the co-management, some sort of operations are running in your premise. So this is the way you can utilize an endpoint. And what you need to get started with the endpoint, that it is a solution platform that unifies several technologies. And here's you don't need to get a new license, and the services are licensed according to their individual license terms. So if you're using the configuration manager, so you also get Microsoft Intune to co-manage your Windows devices. And for the other platform like iOS, iPadOS, Android, then you'll need a separate Intune license. Now it's time to move to the portal, and let me introduce you with the Microsoft Endpoint Manager portal. And before that, let me discuss another key concept that mostly you heard this endpoint word related to the antivirus kind of softwares that runs in your machine. But what modifies the antivirus, the AV, to endpoint? Because the AVs just did the scanning. It scans the file and then add the remedies to secure your whole environment. But the endpoint, once the endpoint word came in the market, the endpoint is a unified solution for securing your devices. And you mostly heard that the endpoint, with the endpoint you can restrict apps, you can block access, you can block several websites. So in the same way, the endpoint doing on the security environment. So here's in the Microsoft environment, this endpoint have the same features, like it is combined and it's a unified product that adds security, that secure your data, that secure your devices, as well as updating devices and providing you the platform to manage things. So now it's time to move to where? The endpoint portal. So there you go. So if you want to access the endpoint.microsoft.com, so you should go with that link. And if you already have the account on Azure, so you can use the same account here. Now there you can see that it is a dashboard, and even this is the dashboard, but it is containing a lot of important information that you really need to see once you open this dashboard. So here you can see the 10 status, the service health, the connector status. And under the resource alerts, you have one device that is not compliant at the moment, and right now device enrollment is nothing, client apps no installation failures, device configuration no configuration failure. So in that way your dashboard is a little bit, but I could say a little more informing you and making you aware about the whole situation that is running with your devices. And here on the left you have the devices option. So if you click here, so all the devices that are the part of the Intune or the part of your configuration manager will be available here. You can see those devices, and also the devices that are the part of your Azure environment, you can also see and access those devices from here. And you can also manage things by the platform basis, like the Windows. And under that you can see that this is the Windows policy section, where you have different policies like the compliance policy, configuration profiles. And here once you create a profile, it will create certain sort of rules and some sort of like restrictions, and then you apply that profile on the group. Moreover, you have PowerShell script option you can run from here, then the feature update, and later on we will come to these topics and discuss each and every policies. Then you have app section. Here you can easily install apps on the devices and also monitors the whole progress here on this app center. Then you have endpoint security, and that is a different and really interesting section, because here you have the antivirus, disencryption, firewall, endpoint detection, attack surface. So this will fully protect your data. This will fully add the whole security gadgets in your system, so you can manage these things from here. Then you have the report section. You can go to the report and find out the report related to any product. Also you can see the groups, you can find out the users you have in your environment. Then you can easily navigate to your tenant administration. So if you have Azure tenants, so you can click on the tenant administration, and it will let you to see your tenant information, like the user, the passwords, the identities. So in this way this endpoint manager looks. And here if you click to the all services, so you will find the general services like the devices services, the apps, the desktop analytics. So it will show you all the services that it have, and it allows you to avail to use. And here under the other console you have Intune for education and Microsoft 365 Azure Active Directory. You can also access these portals and these links to learn and to understand. So this is all about this Microsoft Endpoint Admin Center, and in the coming videos we're going to show you a lot practical stuff along with some theoretical concept, the key terms that you need to know, and you must keep that in mind while learning and while exploring this whole Microsoft products. So that's it for this video. Stay with us, and thanks for watching.